Yep.
Welcome to the Mick and Pat show again. I will say, Pat, the amount of degenerates listening to this show is rapidly increasing. Yeah. And English speakers.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, yeah, welcome degenerates. You know who you are. And thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. And if you're new to the show, we refer to our dedicated listeners as kin. I see you as family. And thanks for tuning in. We have a special evening because a good friend of mine and a new friend of Pat's. Because I can't remember if you guys had met before in Crossing.
I don't think so.
It's very hard for me to recall after all these years which friends have overlapped in the Venn diagram of events. But joining us tonight is my buddy Ty. And Ty, we go back over 10 years now. And
it'll be 10 years this summer.
They say if you've been friends with someone for 10 years.
I think it's 7. I know what you're going to say. It's 7.
That you'll end up making love to each other.
Ooh.
I'm behind
there at the end.
But yeah, Ty, go ahead, introduce yourself, share whatever you like to do, whatever your job, your life is. It's really up to you, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. I was been looking forward to this. This is quite the honor. I am a friend of Mick. Yeah, what did we say? It'll be 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 years in 2025.
That's crazy.
Where'd you guys meet?
Ooh. So, Mick and I met at a
summer camp thing?
Summer camp.
Yeah, Eagle Lake.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's so far behind us that I don't really feel like it matters.
Right. Yeah, so we met at Eagle Lake Camps, which is located in Woodland Park.
Yeah. Colorado Springs, Woodland Park area.
Yeah, so how I got there was I had originally applied to be a groundskeeper at this camp because I was just like, at this point in my life where I just wanted just kind of a fresh start, and I was like, should I work at a dude ranch? Should I was born in Colorado, kind of grew up here, but at the time I was living in Nebraska, and then
you were also at that point a degenerate.
I don't know. Yeah. I was going to say, I don't know if a whole lot has changed, but still a little bit of a degenerate.
Would you say you were walking with the Lord before you came to Eagle Lake?
Absolutely not, brother.
Yeah.
No, I very much not. Did not. Went to a Catholic high school and middle school. So I could probably, at the time, give you some Sunday school answers.
Mm-hmm.
Did not have Jesus in my heart, for sure.
Yeah.
Anyways, did not know that I was going to be working at that camp. I thought I was going to be a groundskeeper, like I said.
Are you a counselor at this
I
camp?
drove like 600 miles from Lincoln, Nebraska to Colorado Springs. And I'm thinking, okay, cool. I'm going to get like the dude ranch experience. I'm going to ride horses. I'm going to fix fence, chew tobacco, and I'm going to fuck off for the summer.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. I show up, and at first they were like, hey man, we filled your position.
We filled your position with a black dude from Mississippi. Was he from Mississippi? Where was he from? Atlanta? I can't remember where he was from. His name was Chris, and he was from the inner city somewhere. He was cool.
Yeah, he was a good dude.
He was definitely not
he was
counselor
better,
material.
Looking back now, he was better for that position than I was. So, and if I was a groundskeeper, I would have never met my now wife, and then a few other friends, Mick being one of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's just kind of how it happened. So,
yeah, it was pretty much love at first sight, Pat.
Mick physically assaulted me.
Okay, so this is where he wants to start with this.
Yeah.
That really? I
Yeah.
think I'd like to start from like we're sitting there during the orientation
Oh, that's true.
and like
Playing
they're
the human not game.
no.
Get to know
Like, it
everybody
was
in a
like the
circle.
boring death by PowerPoint presentation
Oh, yeah.
part,
Okay.
and it was like Eagle Lake does this presentation on like
How to sing the papaya song.
no. They're like
Oh, okay.
this is not the joke one. This is like this is like if you're a pedophile, we'll make you disappear this summer.
Yeah.
Like just quit now.
That's like,
It, like-
they're getting serious.
Yeah, well, it was literally like it was so hammered over and over. Like, it's better for you to leave than for us to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're a pedophile, if we're basically gonna kill you, we're gonna take you to the train stop or the train station. It was like it was just like over and over. And I remember it was like so long, and I'm like looking at like people, and none of us are friends yet,
Mm-hmm.
except for people who had already been there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, good God, I wonder if someone here's a pedophile.
Yeah,
They're
how-
talking
how
about it
many
like
pedophiles
how
come
many
through here?
pedophiles come to the like be camp counselors every year, and then like it was right after they like were like, all right, take 10, and I'm just like sitting in my chair and looking around and just kind of eyeing people up, and then I see Ty,
Mm-hmm.
and he had like a Jimmy Neutron haircut at the time. It was pretty like up and then
I had
curled.
A good.
It's like a snake tunnel
good
or
yeah,
tunnel snake. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. I mean,
tunnel
dude,
snake.
you
A
get-
wave.
well, the tunnel snake's a hairdo. It's a hairdo. It's your hair, bro. You got that stiff, dark Nebraska
Well, Mick
hair.
doesn't have any hair.
That's true. Male pattern baldness is coming on set early.
We don't even know if it skipped a
It's
generation.
all right. I have more hair on my face than you ever will.
Oh, man.
Also, not true.
Yeah, exact 100% true.
What's you know what's always just like been unbelievable, like looking at you.
What?
You have like you have
This is
hairy.
gonna hurt my feelings.
You have like no like between your neck and then your nether bits. You don't have any hair.
Yeah, it's true. I have a happy trail.
Yeah, that's all you got.
Yeah, I am pretty squeaky clean like a baby. Other than like the stray like
Naked mole rat kind of.
like oh okay, all right, that's how you see it. I see it kind of as like a slick, hard plastic, like Ken bod.
Wow.
Here's the thing, man. You're running your mouth a lot right now, and I recall you just ogling and taking every opportunity to rub your hands across my body that summer. So no, but all right, no. So like literally, like we make eye contact, and it's just kind of like this like nod thing. Like I see he's looking at me, I'm looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
It is like one of those things that like in my head I'm like it's a little gay, but like whatever. I don't know that guy's name.
In that room beneath the
No.
dining hall.
No, it's like the big bubble.
You're in the big
Yeah,
bubble.
Yeah.
All right.
T-dome.
And later on, I'm still trying to like figure out like who is actually like can hang and be like kind of rough and tough for the summer
Mhm.
because it's like summer camp, but like there's a lot of people
That
who
is-
are like weenies.
Yeah.
That is Mick down to his core. Like,
Mhm.
who's gonna roughhouse with me?
Mhm.
Yeah, and like we're throwing the frisbee on this hill while leaving the dining hall. No campers, of course, are here yet,
Mhm.
and I don't know what started it first, but I felt someone. It might have not been you. It might have been one of these other guys, Danny. Someone bumped into me like a good shoulder check shove to snap the frisbee, and I was
Mhm.
like, and like then when it was coming back our direction, I saw Ty going for it.
Mm.
And I just bulldozed into him down the hill.
Mm.
And the fact that he was laughing about it, and we were laughing as we were rolling down the hill in like dry shrub brush, I was like, this is all right, this is my dog. Like for the rest of the summer, this is the dog. And like this is it. It's gonna be a good summer.
You two are just like Simba and Nala rolling down that hill.
It really was, bro.
Wow.
It was like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, just all like meow, meow.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, so
Oh, the chemistry.
yeah, no, I mean it was pretty much like
So
we
you
became
kicked
buddies.
it off from there.
Yeah, we became buddies real fast, and we're spending pretty much like every night we were just up late, either playing cards or
Mm-hmm.
talking on the cabin patios and just
Mhm.
getting to know stuff. And I'm trying to think like what the first. I feel like that first weekend or one of those weekends we were like we've got cigars, and when I don't know whose house we were at, but we were just chilling and smoking cigars. It was just a good old boys' weekend before any girls came and ruined it.
Mick introduced me into the wonderful world of prime times.
Oh yeah, that's right. So I was a primetime monster, bro.
Early college age, high class cigars,
bro. What can I say? I grew up on the streets. I love my grape and watermelon prime times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then I really think like the best thing was like 4 weeks into with campers, we got paired up with these. Like we were in a boys' cabin, of course, paired up, and the boys were like little boys, not middle schoolers, and I think they were all like in the age range of like 7 to maybe 9,
like first and second graders.
Yeah. And oh man, they were just, it was awesome. Like they were like, there was times where they were annoying for sure, but it was pretty much just Ty and I got to just wrestle them. You know what I mean? And like that was the whole week of just wrestling them until they were tired enough to nap, and then we just sit out on the patio.
That's definitely like the age group where they're not too cool, and
also can't read. So like it's like Bible time, and it's like, what are you gonna do? Like they just look. There was weeks where I remember one time, was someone that week? It was just a kid looking at his Bible crying. Because he didn't know how to read yet. And he was just so overwhelmed by the amount of words on the page. It was hilarious.
Dang. Yeah.
Was that a core memory for you just now that just came back?
No, I'm thinking of the cheeses.
Jesus was good.
Okay. So at later part of the summer, I had this camper who, I think he got like a sponsorship. Anyways, someone had basically like kind of helped him get to this camp, and he was writing a thank you card at the end of the week. And I still, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm still questioning if he just like pulled one over on me. I don't think so, but he wrote this thank you note and then was trying to say Jesus. And it was Jesus.
Jesus every time. Yeah.
I just about lost my mind.
Well, because you don't want to laugh at him and hurt their feelings. Like you want them to write the cards.
They're writing the I was like, note and...
Jesus?
How
many times has it been up on the screen this week? There was also, bro, you got to tell this one. This was a good one. You had that middle school, I'm pretty sure it was middle school age camper that made the ultimate commitment to, well, it wasn't Gaga Ball. What was it?
This is the same kid.
Oh, it was the same kid?
Same exact kid.
Okay, all right. Now you got to tell this story of how you found this out.
All right. So on Thursdays was probably the most full day because campers, maybe Friday. I can't really remember. Anyways, full of activities, full of a lot of fun stuff. But yes, it was during Gaga Ball. So Gaga Ball, no, what is that? No.
Newcomb.
It
was Newcomb.
That's what it is.
I was king of the Newcomb courts at Eagle Lake.
Yeah, it was Newcomb.
So if you don't know, for the listeners that don't know what Newcomb is, it's essentially volleyball, but you can't move. And there's way too many players. There's like 20 players on each side. And if it comes near you and you don't hit it back and it hits the sand, you're out.
Smoke break. Hey, Ken, it's Mick, and I've got something important to talk about. We all hope we never find ourselves in a self-defense situation, but life's unpredictable. Enter the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer, an actual credible law firm you can put on retainer for your self-defense needs. For just $35 a month, you get national coverage in all 50 states for criminal and civil legal representation in self-defense situations, complete with a 24/7, 365 toll-free emergency line. That's real legal support when you need it most. What's in the package? Bail bonds, scene cleanup, firearm replacement, even mental health counseling. Plus, 0 fees for a laundry list of defense-related costs like expert witnesses. So support the show and get yourself some peace of mind. Click the link in our show notes or visit our sponsors page to sign up for the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer.
Hey folks, Pat here. If you're like Mick and I, you're a fan of classic tales like Lonesome Dove, Blood Meridian, The Three-Body Problem, and Steinbeck's East of Eden. With Audible, you can dive into these epic stories anytime, anywhere. Sign up for a free month, and your first audiobook is on the house. To start your free trial and support our show, click the link in the show notes or swing by the sponsors page on our website.
Want an awesome website for your podcast? Check out Podpage. We use it for the Mick and Pat show, and it's a game changer. Set it up in minutes, no coding needed. Support the show by using our link to get started. Your podcast deserves a home as great as ours. Podpage, the one-stop solution.
Mm-hmm.
If it like pinballs off of you and a couple other people and hits the ground, you're all out.
Yeah, you're all out. It's kind of like dodgeball in a sense.
And for some reason, it's the most important thing to win to a lot of middle school boys.
Yeah, I broke my tailbone playing Nukem.
Really?
Yeah, because you can leave your feet, but then like the new position that you land in is where you got to stay until the ball comes near you again.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ultimate sacrifice was made by this kid. And somewhere in between playing Nukem, and then we went straight from that to dinner.
Thursday night was banquet night, too.
Banquet night, dude. So
It was all get dressed.
he just
Get fancy.
unloaded in his pants. And
Just shit in his pants, bro.
good old
To win Nukem.
dude.
He was not
He
like, this
must
is
have
not
been-
a second grader. This
he
is
must
like,
have been
like
way
a dude
too
like
old. Way
6th
too
or
old.
7th grade.
way
no.
too old. Way too old for this. Which made me kind of feel bad because I don't know. He's probably
I mean, just more going on, but
dude. He's
we'll laugh at him for it.
okay. We've all been there, you know.
Kid's probably got a college degree now.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, man, I've been there. I've been in situations where I've been prairie dogging it. But yeah, I don't know. He committed all the way. Anyways, it gets to the end of the night. We're all going into our bunks, and I am just like, dude. And this is after like we had showered and everything,
Yeah.
and I was just like, yo,
It reeks.
this is insane. And it's, I know I can smell, and it's near me because I remember walking around the cabin, and it would like dissipate. It would be like you could smell it right here, and then you can't smell it over here. Then you come back around, and it's here. It's under, and literally, like I look down, I have my headlight on. I look straight down. There's just his pair of underpants between my feet, just with a log in it. It was like, whatever, probably like 10:30 at night, I want to say, maybe earlier, but I was way too tired for this. And I just like went outside, found a stick, picked the underpants up, and just like threw them just outside of the cabin. I was just like, I didn't even have like the tolerance or the energy to like actually just like go toss them away. But then I made a point the next morning to confront this kid, and I was just like, what's this about?
Yeah.
And he was like, nuke him. I did it.
Yeah, like
didn't
no
wanna
denial. Those aren't mine.
And I was like, well, but after Nukem, we went back to the cabin. You could have, like, you had like all these different chances.
To change, you know.
Didn't do it.
Yeah.
And somehow, like, no one else, I don't know. So, anyways.
Nuked his pants
Yeah.
for the win. Wow. Well,
I've talked about the gorilla costume on this podcast before, right? You remember that? Yeah. See, hey, Ty, I just want to know what it was like from your perspective, like from within the cabin. You don't have to tell the whole story because people who have listened have already heard the story of the gorilla costume and the whole build up. But I wasn't in the cabin, so I'm only translated like what I heard from the outside.
I haven't thought about that literally since it happened. Probably. I mean, I'm sure we've probably talked about it afterwards, but I'm trying to remember.
You had the really rough inner city Mexican kids that were from Denver.
Oh yeah.
And like none of them brought real swim trunks. They just like were too cool for school.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Just real quick recap. How did you procure?
My campers brought it up and
That
and I was
is
like,
so baller.
and they were like, yeah, we should just run around all week this and this. I'm like, no. Like we get them to announce there's a gorilla loose from Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. And we build up to it. and then I'll put it on and run through camp and scare campers. And I didn't tell any other dude counselors other than like you and our buddy Gom. And I think you were the only two I kept in on it. Oh no, Gom was gone. Gom was fired by this point.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There was
man.
only like you and one other dude I told about it. I was like, hey, I'm doing this. It was probably Danny. And then the rest of them I didn't tell because I wanted it to be genuine. But I remember like you had those Mexican kids that were too cool for school. I'm like, bro, I'll scare the daylights out of them.
A couple of them were super cool, but I think I found out that one of them had a vape, and I was just like, dude,
share.
I was like, I'm not gonna report you or anything. I don't want to make this a thing, which I totally could have got fired for that.
Yeah. So what?
Yeah, because that other. Well, anyways, we're getting.
Did
into
any
a
of
lot
them
of
cry
stories.
when I went? Because I remember I was like picking up their
I
clothes
do
on the
remember-
bed porch and like acting, sniffing them, and I was blowing on the glass.
Yeah, definitely. One of my kids cried. Now that I'm thinking about it, which was super cool.
It was awesome. That was honestly the best.
Yeah, kids that have like never really been to the woods or seen like wild animals. Yeah, and then just get PTSD.
Oh man. Anyways,
from Mick in a gorilla costume.
it was a good time.
Oh man, dude, I've never been back, man.
Not once.
Mm-mm.
I went back a few times to do some video editing and stuff, and visit some people.
Oh yeah, yep.
Anyways, you met your honey from there.
I did meet Bonnie.
Yeah. And now you and Bonnie have a little one.
Clyde.
Clyde. Nice. It's kind of weird that she named her son Clyde.
It's kind of a, we're not going to go there.
All right.
But, yeah, it's been almost 10 years. Yeah, basically every time I ever hung out with her, besides maybe like one or two times, there was, you were around. You also had a lady friend at the time.
And she's doing great. She's out there, married with kiddos, and she's very successful.
Oh, yeah. It was a lot of fun too, because we had like a good group of friends that would hang out when we would have our 24 hours off the mountain.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite memories is there was like the four of us decided to have like a late lunch on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. Oh, this was good.
And we were somewhere downtown Colorado Springs, and we were running late, and I must have ran over a nail. And so like we came out to my 98 Lexus LS 400.
Beautiful car.
It's a great car. RIP. With a completely flat tire, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And luckily had like a regular rim and tire ready to roll. And we probably changed that tire in what?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah. It was crazy. It was unreal.
We were already late.
Yeah.
Like there was no chance we're going to make it on time. And
Yeah.
then with having a flat tire, it was just like, oh my God.
But I've had like probably 3 or 4 instances of a flat tire on someone else's car on my own, or blown, like pop tire. I've never had anything
Same.
remotely as aligned as that. It was like Ty and I were like,
We didn't even
it was
say
like
anything.
we were attached. No, literally didn't say anything. We came out and I saw the flat tire, and Ty said something like "fuck," and like he's like, "I got a spare in the trunk," and like that was the last thing he said. And like the girls just stood to the side and watched us chain this tire in like 2 minutes without any words said, and just like jacking it up, knowing exactly where to throw a jack, and like take all the lugs off and swap it out. And we get in the car, and like the girls were like, "That was incredibly hot." Like you guys, you guys didn't say anything. You just like did that without having to do, like the fact that you did without having to communicate and argue was unreal. I was like, yeah, we were really good at that. We were really on the same page, man.
And then for whatever reason, we decided to take the most ass backward way
Yeah.
back to camp, which is the real reason why we were late. But yeah, that drive up Rampart Road was one to remember.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was pretty. Anyways, Pat, sorry, we were going down memory lane.
No,
I don't know if there's anything you wanted to clue into there.
No, I like it. Eagle Lake is. I've attended there a couple times as a camper back in the day. It's a special place for me.
Yeah,
it's fun to talk about. I can picture all the spots, and yeah, it's a super cool place and get into. And then also, had fun summers. I did my summer stuff was at Young Life camps and stuff, but it's
nice.
That stuff's just full of fun memories, and you're young and you really don't have any responsibilities or really everything's fine in your life. But then all the cool thing about that is you're just so present. There's not a lot. And other people do have stuff going on in their lives or hard things, but for the most part, usually you're just college age. You're here for the summer, and this is your whole life. Everything's just in the moment going on, and good friendships, good memories. It's where you make lifelong friends, where you sometimes find a lady, and hang out with them for a long time. It was at a Young Life camp where I figured out that I liked Mace Windu. Yeah.
Nice.
She was, we had been friends for a while, and she was working at the Young Life camp on the next mountain over. And I had to go do I would get to go over to that camp once a week my camp was a family camp, and the other camp was a camp for high schoolers. Once a week, we'd take families over to the high school camp. And while the high schoolers were all gone from camp for the day on the hike, then all the families could play in the pool that day. And it was a cool way for families and adults to see what a Young Life camp is and see that camp. And so, but I got to drive the vans over there and take people over there. And so then she was a baker, and I'd go see her in the old bakery. And
wow, that's so on brand for her.
Yeah.
I could see her in an apron baking.
She was aproned up, just baking, covered in flour, and I'd go there and excited to see her, and we'd write letters back and forth all summer,
who
all summer long.
Who initiated? Did she when did you know she was into you? Was it after you made the first move, or were you oh wait, this chick's into me?
Well, the funny thing is, this was the summer. We didn't start dating till October.
Okay, so you're writing letters to each other.
Yeah, well, I know.
You're flirting.
Here's what I'll say is all of our friends, even leading up to her, why aren't you guys dating? We're well, what are you talking about?
I love the tension.
We don't like each other. I have no idea what you're talking about. Both of us were I literally.
But you were writing letters to each other.
But we did. We kind of which is a cool thing about a relationship was it really is was founded and rooted in friendship first, and so then it was just a really strong relationship going forward. But that's when I kind of started realizing I think I kind of like this girl. And so then when we got done with summer, came back to school, then that beginning of that fall semester, we officially started dating.
Hell yeah.
And I initiated that. But yeah, it was summer camps, college time. It's good stuff.
I am so glad that that's how I met my wife. To just court a woman in that way.
It was a really good. It was a it's a lot better than a lot of people meet their spouses in college and stuff.
Bonnie and I talking about it every once in a while. Be I have no idea how you could date, how you would even date right now.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It'd be crazy. Feel the same way. One thing I do want to say too is just, Ty, I think about it a lot, and I think you were with me probably at the most ghetto, roughest moments of college. I genuinely think because Ty, after summer camp, was back in Nebraska for a minute before moving out to Colorado and our college town, and then he lived in our college town for a little while with some randos, and then he moved in with me my junior year. And we were roommates my junior year. But the summer before the junior year, he moved in. And that summer, it was just him and I in this townhome or condo.
Oh,
and I was working 70 hours a week because of the commute. And he was working 70 hours a week because it was construction. And we would literally just see each other as I'm coming home from a super long security shift. He's just clonked out on the couch. I'd just wake him up, give him a beer, because he couldn't drink yet. He could, but like he couldn't buy alcohol. And I was 21, and I would just like bring home a beer or something, and like we drink a beer before we both just go to bed to do it again the next day. And it was just every single fucking day. It was like I would have a Thursday off, and it was just like that was it. That was my only day off, and it was random, and it wasn't enough time to turn around. Yeah, and there was like some straight up moments where like Ty and I would somehow like we'd find a window to like crush a good like 20 rack outside just in camping chairs in the cul-de-sac, just under street lights, and it was like
those were some great beers.
They were good, but like, dude, it was like honestly so miserable. Like it was like misery, not because I was like an alcoholic. It was misery because I was like, I have no life. I cannot differentiate any of the days that have occurred in the last 30 days. Like they're all the same thing, and just mindless, boring. And I don't even like what's good. What good is my money? Because I have nothing to spend it on. Because I have no free time. Yeah. And that summer was just like it vaporized. It was surreal. It was really weird.
Crushing beers and like Camel Crushes.
Yeah. We did what was really fun too is like I would have friends from high school come up and visit us that summer. Just when because they were doing the same thing when they didn't go to college, right? So they drive a visit, and there's these horses nearby. And I still have pictures. And Ty actually found this picture. I want to show you, bro.
One of my favorite.
There was these horses named, we called them Bert and Ernie. Don't know who they were. But
it became kind of a ritual at one point in the summer to just
like after we were drunk to go there,
meander our way over there and just grab grass wherever we could. Because the horses already ate like the grass over the fence, We would just feed the horses.
It was like
until
3 a.m.
Until one night.
Yeah, my buddy Andre was up with us, and I mean, gosh, he brought a rack of beer. I had a rack of beer. I mean, we were drunk as skunks. And it was like one of those things where like we were drunk and then started sobering up because were staying up so late, smoking cigs and stuff, and just talking, and then we just got like drunk again. Like it was like, but there's this picture from that night, and while we were feeding these horses, gosh, let me find the year. What year was that? That was like 2016. While we were feeding these horses, the like dude who owns the farm came outside and racked a shotgun and fired it off into the air.
Oh my gosh.
And like we were so blitzed that we didn't even jump or like yell, but like we all recalled like the gunshot, but we were so drunk that we were just like I guess we go home. Like we just stopped and started walking home. But it was surreal to me that like that was our like reaction. But
were you riding the horse at this point?
No. We were just being loud and stuff. And I'm trying to find this picture. Maybe it's I think it's actually my contact picture of. No, it's not my contact picture of Ty. I can't find it, but it's him just putting his hat on the horse's head while petting it, and it's just the horse is very happy to be there. But we would take everyone. I mean, we would get my mom came up to visit. We all drank beers and took my mom over to the horses. It was a great picture. This is me like I literally just got off of a shift. I still have my security jacket and headphones on around my neck. I probably still have my gun. Like, but it was so much fun. It was a good time, good memories. But anyways, yeah, there's just like a lot of memories like that. I do remember like very clearly too when I like, oh, here we go. Here's Ty putting a hat on Ernie. He's got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
I haven't seen that hat in forever.
That's hilarious.
Probably left it on that horse.
That wouldn't surprise me.
But anyways, the moment I knew like we were actually really going to be friends was the summer of camp. I had a buddy that was a really good friend of mine pass away. You don't find out about it when you're on the mountain. You just find out when you come down. And we came down the mountain and I found out he had drowned in the river tubing one day.
Oh no.
And it was just like pretty crazy because I was like, everyone only gets like 24 hours off you know, and you kind of don't want to ruin someone's 24 hours because then they have to go and do a whole nother week of being a counselor and stuff, and it's exhausting. And I just remember, like, I remember we were hanging out, and I don't remember exactly what we did, but I just remember, like, you were really present still, you know, for that whole weekend. And I was really, you know, touched by just like, you know, these were all strangers before that summer, and they really came around and were looking out for me that weekend and really considerate. And then I remember the weekend of the funeral. It was one of those things where I think you drove me down and dropped me off at my grandparents. And then I had a buddy drive me back up from college. But it was one of those things, again, that was just like a convenience of like willingness to, you know, kind of help me, you know, make it to this important event, right? And say goodbye to a good buddy. But that one of those weekends too, though, Ty is down in my neck of the woods where my stomping ground's at. And I'm showing him my high school and this hill that I love to sit on and make out with chicks on in high school and all that. And for those who know, it's called Jackass Hill.
Do you remember this?
Are you talking about the mountain?
No, that hill. Well, while we were there,
I don't remember.
I had to make the ultimate sacrifice.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it just, you know, probably, you know,
watching sunset on this big giant hill. It's called Jackass Hill. If you've ever been to it, it's a beautiful scenic view.
Yeah, it was super. It was
smoking cigars,
and that's probably just what made me had to, you know, go. So if you've ever been there, there's no trees, there's no nothing, and I'm like,
just a hill that goes down into people, like rich, wealthy people's backyards.
There was one faithful bush that I found. That's, I mean, it's like an arm's reach away from the trail that like everyone uses. And I was just like, okay, I guess. And I like wedged myself into this bush, and it was just enough cover, and I just did the business and left a sock. But Mick didn't know that I was going to be doing this, so I just like I left for a little bit, and I remember like walking back, and you're like, why do you only have one sock on?
I was gonna say about that memory though, I remember where they're looking at all the like foothills, and I was like, I think I could pull it on this guy. I think I could pull the wool over his eyes, because to many people who are like coming from the plains, they think every single mountain has a name and a story. And there's a reason that mountain has that name, and it's called Mount whatever, right? And I remember I was like, yeah, they all have names. And I just like had already crafted this story in my head, and he's like, well, what's the name of that one? And I was like,
Mick, it's just one for gimmicks. It lives for it.
Like
lives for it.
Without like losing a beat. I was like something like, oh, that one's like Dioplav's mountain. He was a Eastern European immigrant, and he came just on the heels of Lewis and Clark, and I'm like telling the story of like how they came across and like saw this, and like how they orienteered to like decide where they were going to go up, and it got so steep. You know, I was building up for like 5 minutes or whatever, just all bullshit. But I was working with it, and then I was like, it got so steep though that they had to start just tossing dead weight. And they took out their packs of their wagons, and then they just unhitched the wagons, and it just kept on getting so steep that they had to carry their horses on their backs. And like there was like a moment of like digestion I saw on his face, and then he was like, oh wait, okay, like this is all bullshit. But it was so sweet. And to his credit though, like he got me, and I think I've told this one before, maybe on the podcast, but we went down the mountain to this burger joint in Colorado Springs. Oh man, this dickhead. We're in line ordering our burgers. I see this like tin that's open, and it looks like freshly baked cookies are in it, but they're in the shape of dog bones. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, those are dog treats. But there was no price thing on them, and they're pretty small, so I was like, whatever. So fuck, dude. Oh man. So I grab my drink and I go and sit down, and I see Ty walk up to me. And he's like chewing. He's got half of one in his hand. He's just like, I'm like, bro, those are dog treats. He's like, no, they're cookies. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, no, it's like a sugar snickerdoodle thing. I'm like, oh, are they free? And he's like, yeah. You just ask him. I'm like, all right. So I get up there and I go up. I'm like, can I get one of these? And they're like, yeah. And I grab it. And I am like, I'm walking back to the table and I just see Ty laughing his ass off as I'm like just chowing down on this. And like, it's like when I see him laughing, I immediately know. And like everything connects. Like, he was fake chewing. He didn't have anything in his mouth. He just broke it in half. It was, oh, dude, I felt so bad.
Ugh.
Do you remember that? Were you proud of yourself?
Oh man, yeah.
That was so good. That was so clean.
And then to make you feel better, I took a bite.
You date one, yeah. The posterity. But anyways,
it's a classic.
Solidarity.
Classic getting the old dog treat maneuver.
Yeah. Dude, so funny. Anyways, Ty, welcome to the show. Just introduction and history a little bit there for people.
Yeah.
Ty, you were texting me this week.
Mm-hmm.
And as we usually do, we text back and forth about all the happenings in the news in the world. And you're asking me my thoughts and questions. I said, well, why don't you just come on the podcast and you could just talk about this with us, and we can just have a conversation about anything you want to talk about. So no pressure, but pick a topic, come up with something.
I haven't listened to the latest episode, but if you Pat can just fill me in real quick, so I don't want to.
No, that's all right. We can even continue to. If we get on stuff we've already talked about, we can keep talking about it too.
I mean, and more stuff, I guess, has kind of come to light about some things, but we talked most recently about that Matthew Liversberger. Yeah.
What's his name?
Liversberg. And so the Green Beret who self-deleted and blew up outside of the Trump Tower. And we're talking about that and just a lot of the weird stuff about it. I use Signal for, some chats and stuff, and Signal has your number, and you can only change it with an approval process that is pretty you manually accept and hit yes a couple times on your phone to change your quote unquote Signal number, because it's a very codified number. It's more complex than just a phone number. It's an actual barcode. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I've never.
I'm just saying it's an encrypted code, right?
Okay.
Which is why Signal's used it for a lot of just encrypted messaging.
Mm-hmm.
And so post his death, apparently his Signal number changed, which a lot of people are well, you would only have access to that if you had his phone and could get into it and unlock it and change it manually. So that was one thing. And then the other thing was a lot of people were well, it doesn't look like he shot himself in the head while he was pulling up. But Brandon Herrera recently tested that on his show to see if a camera would pick up the muzzle flash of a Desert Eagle, and which the Desert Eagle is the firearm that Liversberg used, and the camera doesn't really pick it up in daylight. So it's even if he did shoot himself, probably wouldn't have seen it from camera.
I don't even know. Did they find bullet casing?
Yeah, there's pictures of the Desert Eagle kind of melted, and its grip is melted and stuff. But it is weird because here's the thing. It's kind of like a Pandora's box. Maybe not a Pandora's box, but there's a contrarian thing here of they say the Tesla camera recorded him, and they could verify it was him in the vehicle with the Tesla camera, and that he wasn't a dead body driving up. Someone didn't kill him and then put his body in the car and then send it to the tower. If that's the case, then there's nothing offensive about showing just at least pictures or footage from inside the vehicle before he shoots himself. The fact that they're refusing to release it makes a lot of people think that's a dead body in the car with, it's Weekend at Bernie's eyelids stapled open or whatever. And that's what was keeping the vehicle driving forward. Because if you like fall asleep in a Tesla, it starts beeping and signaling that it's going to power down and pull over. So it's one of those things like you need to have a person postured with their eyes open
and hands on. I think the hands got to be
don't need
the
to.
wheel.
They don't need to be on the wheel.
Really?
No, I thought there was a sensor that you have to like kind of keep touching. The
every once in a while, like it wants you to check in on it, but like you can read a book or play on your phone, and your Tesla's still going to drive itself just fine.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's a lot of questions still. I don't know if that's what you wanted to talk about, but that's kind of what we went over in last week's episode.
That was and then week after that, we had these fires break out. It seems like a number of those, there's like an element of arson to them. Not all of them, but definitely a bunch. I mean, at one point they had 10 fires.
10 fires going. You want to know what's crazy? What's his name? He's a senator. He's one of the senators who's like very anti-government spending, and he leans more Senator Rand Paul.
Okay.
So Senator Rand Paul recently, this is purely a Mick conspiracy theory, right? Senator Rand Paul recently put on a presentation about how private insurance companies aren't insuring these $1 million houses in California. But the federal government was insuring these homes for these celebrities. Like through some kind of filing act, they could insure their home with the federal government, which was really weird. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't understand like the IRS and like the tax rules there on that. But literally like these were being funded with our tax dollars. These houses were insured. And just what was it? I think 3 months ago or 6 months ago, in Los Angeles, all these houses lost their coverage for fire insurance. And so
72. Oh, hold on. You keep going.
No, you're good. But it was just one of those things where it seems like a lot of people lost their coverage for like their private coverage from insured companies, but they got their coverage via government funding. And so my theory is like it was too risky for a lot of these people to remain in this. And there's a lot of movement and debate on whether or not they should remain insured by the federal government. And so rather than wait for the federal government to repeal their insurance and then also not have insurance covered in a private market, had the fires burn their house down, collect the government insurance payout, move to Austin or wherever, Connecticut, Colorado. And so that's my big thing is like, I did hear that like they eventually caught a homeless guy who did start, they think, the first fire or the first couple. But then my conspiracy is after that, everything else started becoming a front for insurance fraud. Like a lot of other fires were started as an intent of insurance fraud. I will bet my own house that people burnt their own buildings down to some degree. Not everyone, right? I'm not talking like the general family, right? Who loves their home and wants to stay there and like this is the home they grew up in. But people who either had businesses that were underperforming. I mean, it's no secret that LA has had one of the worst economies post-COVID, just like New York. Businesses were pulling out because of how much they were losing money from looting. And so I don't really think it's that hard to imagine like some people started some other fires to burn things down and collect an insurance, just like they did with the Chicago fires. The Chicago fires was like one of the greatest incidents of fire fraud ever in American history. Don't get me wrong. The Chicago fires were also one of the greatest, fire devastations, natural disasters we've ever had in this country. But it was like, without a doubt, they found cases of the Chicago fire where fires were started for the sake of collecting in on the fire's damage and a good cover up of insurance fraud.
I'm sure, people would have that idea to hop in on it potentially, and make it happen. I don't know. And there were some people talking about if it was like terrorist attacks and things like that. And
bro, it's the blue laser that got Maui.
Oh, yeah. And lots of people, like lots of credible sources said that, it wasn't that. Maybe eco terrorist type stuff, like could have been setting fires to things. But yeah, because there was a lot of fires going on at one time, and it is, I guess, I don't know, like, when is fire season in California? Is it normal? Is it
I think it's all year, bro.
Just all the time,
There's not a wet season really.
But it hasn't been a drought for so long. But
well, I think one of the things that's happened that is true for like a lot of places that have experienced these wildfires that just like burn crazy is that like 2 years ago they experienced a lot of rain, so a lot of vegetation grew. Last year it was super dry, and so kind of like this time around there was a lot more fuel to burn, but it wasn't mitigated. Why it wasn't mitigated, I mean, that's another conversation, but I don't know.
Let me say this, adding on to it. Not only did the federal government cut funding to the states for preventative fire maintenance, like brush clearing, California started also outlawing that as work for prison crews without special exception and natural disaster clauses.
That just got voted on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there are some quote unquote prisoner fire crews out there right now that are like legit doing everything they can to help battle these fires, right? So props to them. They're not like firefighters as much as they are like helping with the supply chain aspect of firefighting and things like that. But then the other part is Gavin Newsom cut over $100 million of funding to LAPD specifically, not LAPD, LAFD. That was specifically for the maintenance and clearing of hotspot like debris. And I mean, so like all that is like, I see that and I'm like, that could be just awful government negligence. That also could just very likely be like, hey, let's cash in on this freaking cow before it gets repealed. You know what I mean? Like, what's one of the number one things the federal government and our representatives did right before the COVID lockdowns got announced? I mean, Ty and I were roommates at the time. Do you not remember?
I don't remember. You have to remind me.
They sold all their freaking stocks like 24 hours in advance when they knew 24 hours before it was announced of the lockdown, and the stock market crashed.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things like if they know something's going to get removed or taken away out of their hands, they're for sure going to be able to move on that.
That's kind of how I look at State Farm that canceled something like 1,600 policies or whatever in the Palisades.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, maybe they had realized that like this is way too risky for us to cover, and we don't have the cash to cover this if something were to go wrong. Yeah. So we're going to cancel.
Which is crazy. You think you pay into that insurance for how many years and whatever the cost is, and then like you don't get a refund, and they're just like, yeah, no, like you don't have insurance anymore. Which is kind of like, take that as a sign, maybe. Like, there's a reason private insurance companies don't insure something. Like, if you live in a flood zone, the private insurance company's like, nope, too likely to flood. Maybe don't live in the flood zone. You know what I mean? It's kind of like it's a litmus test for like how safe is it really to live here. Anyways, I don't know. I have those kind of opinions around it. I also think again, it's pretty crazy. Like the rioting and looting, not rioting, but the looting that's begun, as like the dangers slowly come down and people are like literally being, they see people running in from house to house and just grabbing whatever they can and leaving with. Because that's the thing is like when you evacuate for a fire, you're pretty much not taking anything with you. Other than clothes most of the time, maybe you're getting like the most expensive possessions that are like, you like jewelry or a firearm
and usually it's not even expensive stuff. Usually it's going to be like stuff that's special to you.
Sure. Yeah. But dude, I mean, crazy right now how many people are having their homes looted. And the police are out there and being told you need to get out there and protect these homes. But a lot of people also have been having comments about that because they're not protecting the more poor parts of LA that were damaged. Because it's not just the Palisades now. A lot of people think this is still like just burning in like uppity, very wealthy LA. Like this is scorched a ton of LA. And the more middle and lower class economy has been scorched pretty hard too. The police are not patrolling that as well, or as thoroughly as they are the more wealthy neighborhoods to prevent looting. So,
yeah,
it's kind of, go ahead.
Yeah, and then there's looters who are also starting more fires as they go.
Yeah, well, they've caught a couple already. Yeah,
they've been catching people who are starting more fires as they go, as they loot.
Yeah,
but you know, I don't know, man.
We wish them well.
I feel bad for folks. And
I can't
also,
imagine losing my stuff in a home fire right now.
I do. I feel bad for people, and I just it's hard for me to have any sympathy for anything bad that happens in California.
Yeah,
just from years of mismanagement, misgovernment. Like, I don't know. I'm just like
getting like, you know, when your fire department's commercial says, if I have to come in and pull you out of a fire, like, you should be asking yourself how you ended up there.
It's a tough look.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. I was just like, I'm like, bro, that's unreal to me. But I heard recently, Billie Jean told me this because she has a friend who whose husband is a firefighter in Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs, I'm throwing shade. CSFD, catch these hands. They don't have to pass the pick up a buddy and carry them out test anymore to become a firefighter for Sea Springs.
Really?
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
This dude was like, it is an like absolute obscene violation to all of us who have like put our blood, sweat, and tears into like training for this. And now you don't even have to pass like the buddy carry. Because it's like, here's the thing, people don't get it. It's like people see these stupid ads from that are like circling online, and like, yeah, I think it's right to criticize them, but they see him where this like Christine whatever lady who looks honestly like George Lopez's neighbor from the George Lopez show.
Is this like the mayor of LA or something?
No, she was like one of the fire department chiefs, but I thought she was a trans dude. Like, I was really shocked that it was a woman. But someone asked her, like, do you think you'd be able to carry a man out of a burning building in the commercial? And she was like, why should I have to carry your husband out? He shouldn't be there in the first place, or something like that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like this whole deflection of like, it's the victim's fault for the fire or whatever. And then like, a lot of people have it in their mind that like, oh, fires only happen to like fat, obese, negligent people who have it coming because of the way they live their lives or something. Right? But like, at the same time, you can't think that way and then feel sympathy for all these people who just lost their houses to a natural disaster. Or have the double standard
of being like, if you're a fat slob and can't take care of yourself and you have mental health issues,
you don't deserve to get pulled out of the fire.
You should stay in the fire.
But
if you're a fat slob with mental health issues,
you should be a firefighter.
We'll hire you to be a firefighter.
Dude.
That's the double standard. Like, just like,
yes, I am in the wrong place. My house is on fire. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, like it's also not my fault. It's
the
also
roof
like
fell on me.
Yeah.
Can you help? Or no? Is that? But you're just gonna gaslight me while I am on fire now.
Part of that training that a lot of people don't get is like, most of the time when firefighters are in a structure, at least this is from what I understand, a lot of it is to assess if the structure can be saved and if everyone's out. Most of the time, though, if they're carrying someone out, it's another firefighter. That's what I've heard. Majority of the time, it's another firefighter who's had a malfunction or
usually
injury.
It's helping your buddy get out.
And so it's like, if you're fat and out of shape and you can't carry the victim out of the fire, you're a detriment to every firefighter on your team because you can't carry them out and another 100 pounds worth of gear. And it was making me pull I was losing my mind. I was so irate. And I think it's one of those things where like, I wouldn't be nearly as mad if there wasn't like legit firefighters who were even more pissed and seeing like and seeing this stuff, like the fact that like I know people who are like you have no idea how mad I am. And
Right.
like having someone who's like earned these stripes and knows what it's like to have to carry a, 250-pound person off
Mhm.
in a fire. Like the fact that now you don't need to do that to be able to pass and get on a team
Mhm.
is like, there's no excuse for it.
For sure. And the bigger and there's LA firefighters are catching a lot of flack right now. And I'm sure there's a lot of them who are really good firefighters too. But the failure comes down to the leadership so much more on like and the fact that if you have the mentality and the leadership to say, okay, we're going to hire these people for this reason, that reason, besides their actual skill and ability, to be able to be a good firefighter. If you have that type of mentality and leadership, it's also the type of leadership that's, put funding in the wrong places, hasn't planned for, gotten equipment ready. And like we talked about last week, I think it was last week on the podcast, we were talking about how they shipped off a lot of equipment to Ukraine, got rid of a lot of their stuff. And so like
I still don't know if that's 100% true, but that is the rumor.
Right. And so, and on an individual firefighter basis, not a lot you can do to a 23,000 acre fire at this point, but it's like that mindset that the leadership has that is like been so detrimental to like their response to it. And I don't know. I haven't had to fight a fire that big, so I don't know, but I also haven't been in charge of millions and millions of people's homes as a fire chief, or I don't know.
Yeah, no, dude. I just remember like, I don't know. I did not. I'm not saying at all I did anything nearly as extensive or intense as fighting fires, or the training for that. It's from everything I've seen, it's insanely physically intensive. But I remember one of the things that was like a very stressful and source of anxiety for me was when I was in the training for the sheriff department to be a deputy in the jail. The training is a little bit different than like street and patrol training, just because you don't have a firearm and your backup is a lot closer. And so the way you train for like a conflict and like getting into a fight is one of those things of like, it makes sure, one, your computer that can unlock the doors to your pod, make sure that is secured and locked away. And if you can't get in it, just make sure it's locked behind you. And then the other one was hit that radio, and there's a button you can press that will do the emergency call if you can't like talk, and hit that, because you have, anywhere from 2 to 10 deputies that are just like at most 30 seconds away. And the last thing, this is the thing that was a source of so much anxiety and stress, was you got to just fight like hell. You just got to fight and fight and fight and fight and not give up. And you got to be ready and conditioned to fight for, 10 minutes, whatever it's going to be. And that was one of our like final tests that we had to pass. And like, they tell you about it the whole time you're training and in like the academy. And it's just this thing at the end where you have one of, it's either one of the instructors or another one of your classmates who's just like holding up the red man cushion, and you're just wailing on it, doing strikes, having to yell commands the whole time. And then a line of the instructors are coming towards you with like baseball bats, knives, and are coming towards you, and you're being yelled like what technique you need to do. And so like you're in the midst of just swinging and going. And like they literally will fail you if you gas out and your punches are just like half-ass. And they also will fail you if your techniques are incorrect for dealing with, knives or bats and things like that. And they failed people. Like there was people who were with us up until that, and they just could not, they didn't have enough gas in the tank. And it was one of those really weird things where I felt bad because I like some of those people. But then you also recognize it's like, dude, if they ain't got it in them right now, they're not going to have it in them, and they're going to be a liability. Because as soon as you stop fighting, like that's, your taser is gone, your cuffs are gone, and you're probably dead. You're probably getting your head clomped in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just one of those things that was like pretty surreal. And I remember like huge point of anxiety. And if I found out that wasn't anymore in the testing to be a deputy, I'd be irate, dude. I'd be so pissed. Because that's also something that we like busted our ass and trained nonstop for. So,
yeah, it's slipping the standards down. It's not good. Not good. We've seen that everywhere. I wonder about if our military standards are going to creep back up here with a couple people.
Yeah,
ceasefire.
I wonder if that would
Palestine.
only. Yeah, I wonder if that only happened now if the, would you call it enrollment?
Yeah, recruitment
went up.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's I don't really think that's going
We'll
up.
see. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I know a lot of guys who are like, if we do boots on the ground in Ukraine, then yeah, I'm going back in. I know. I also know a ton of other guys who are like,
for real.
What do
you know guys that would be like,
I know
sign
a
me up.
handful of them that they were already in. They were already in. They ETS'd, but they said if we went into like boots on the ground conflict again, and that's because they didn't have any action their whole time.
Yeah,
to get killed by a $300 drone. Dude,
I know, right?
No,
but like I know more guys too though who like are like you couldn't. No amount of money will ever get me to put those boots back on.
It's true, but at the same time, I mean, what does it take to do military recruitment? Really, just cool commercials.
A pull-up bar in a high school.
Exactly. Yeah, for real.
They almost got me.
Yeah,
yeah, they almost got a lot of us.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Yeah,
I think all three of us here, like we're pretty close to that brainwash.
No, definitely, but so I think I think we'll see some military standards go back up. And even honestly, we'll see. Well, there's been a lot of talk around leadership and stuff changing and who's going to do what. And we'll see if any of them are just a bunch of politicians or if they actually back up all the things they've said they're going to do. But like, even if your recruitment continued to go down, but you raise the standard, you're at least going to have the people you want there.
Yeah.
A little more.
Yeah. The one thing that I like can see as a potential like conflict that would get recruiting up and stuff like that is, and we've been, there's been talks about like, when's it going to happen? Not just if, is the like China going after Taiwan. And I genuinely think that like, because of how much we have invested there and how the U.S. tech economy is so reliant on, the semiconductors coming out of Taiwan, that it would be, I think it'd be one of those, it's like the new oil, man. Silicone is the new oil.
Yeah.
And so I could see us getting involved in something like that, like not just from a third party point of view.
Yeah. I wonder, you think there'd be like a lot of, boots on the ground in Taiwan?
I think there'd be
a lot of sailors and
honestly, I don't know. My guess is that it would be predominantly a lot of naval stuff, a lot of cyber stuff of trying to essentially limit the enemy's technology to see your fleet versus their fleet, limit your aircraft from functioning. I genuinely think like if we went to war with China in an open sea environment and we had our aircraft rolling off carriers, there would be like straight up like swarms of birds that are, just drones, like just flocks of drones.
Have you seen those?
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like they could just deploy them, launch them from, some kind of like stacked subtube or launch them off of another ship and have them just be interference and make it a pain in the ass to be a fighter pilot or a reconnaissance pilot. And I think boots on the ground would look a lot like it. I think it'd look a lot like Iwo Jima. Like once you're on ground, on land, it's like, hold this, take this island, push it. And then it's like, all right, push it up to the next island. And it's, by the way, you're not getting reinforcements until we can get our ships close enough without getting them blasted. Because China's got the second biggest navy outside of America.
Yeah, they've got a major navy they've built up these last 20 years, big time. And I think things like that won't necessarily lead to, even if they don't become a boots on the ground situation, more people will sign up. And to the recruitment thing too, I think that I would wonder to see if the military came out and said, we're raising the bar everywhere. We've gotten rid of all these people that have been kind of wrecking stuff, and we don't think you have what it takes to come join us. I think a lot of guys would actually come sign up.
Dude, I don't think like 18 to 25-year-olds that are doing TikTok dances or whatever, I don't think they're like interested in that. Like,
well, there's a lot of those guys, but there's just like the main, it is true. There is a generational cultural, like,
you're going to get the
difference,
dudes
for
from
sure.
the Midwest that you would never have to convince.
Right.
For sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like the type of guys who, that's the main, one of the main problems with recruiting has been though, that group has stopped. Like that.
We're losing the
good old boy.
Tylers. We're
Good
losing the
old boy.
Tylers. We're losing Trevors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Kyle's
Yeah.
not enlisting anymore.
All the guys who
No.
was it on the show we were talking about Missouri being one of the main
I don't think so.
recruiting places? But like you know, I was talking with my buddy about it. You know, where there's just the fact that like Missouri is like been it's a not a very populated state compared to like, you know, other big ones, but like it has been a key like recruitment ground for years and years and years, and nobody's signing up.
That's crazy.
And not because, and less so because of like being, you know, a vanilla TikTok kid. More so just because they're like, I'm not gonna go, like I'm not gonna go join a forced vaccination group led by like the Rainbow Flag of Freedom. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm not doing. It's like you at least have to kind of fix that part. You at least have to fix that part to get your recruitment back up first before you can also then like have a shift in like the other guys who they're not joining anyways. You know?
I go ahead.
I'm just thinking of the Shane Gillis bit of the Paw Patrol.
Oh yeah.
Or what was the, anyways, I get a little worried that like, you know, I don't know if there would be like this, like there's already this big buildup, you know, to China taking Taiwan. It's probably going to happen. But I feel like if we were to like make a move with our Navy towards Taiwan, then like, you know, a little bit of our power grid goes down. That kind of stuff happens.
Yeah.
That's what I get worried about.
Cyber warfare.
Yeah. We get like halfway to Taiwan and then it's just like another forest fire gets started, brother.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I do think back to the recruiting thing though. It just came out recently that Gen Z is the poorest generation of Americans for their like age demographic in like American history, outside of like the Great Depression. Like
Dang.
the last time people in the age range of like, what is it right now? Like 18 to 26, I think. The last time they had as little buying power was that age group during the Great Depression. And so I do think like one, military just did approve a raise for enlisted personnel from E1 to E4. And so it's one of those things where like, I do think as Gen Z has to pay their bills and they're not finding themselves, they're more technically illiterate. Like they are less capable of using a computer for work than the boomers. The boomer generation right now, those of them still in the workforce, have higher technical literacy than Gen Z.
Wow.
And so it's one of those things of like, they don't have skills to make, like to earn high paying jobs. And with that, a lot of them, I think, will find themselves like, free room and board, food, like, and I get, you know, some money to spend, like, and I, you know, the likelihood I'm going to fight in a war is pretty low. Okay. So I could see like enlistment kicking up again once they kind of have like a come to Jesus moment where they're like, I got to pay for my stuff. But I don't know. That's kind of, I could see that happening. Right.
Yeah.
But anyways,
That's that's a crazy one to think of. I think of like so many, like I'm addicted to my phone, and to like get thrown into boot camp. Oh man, dude! Like I would just be but it's already like there's so many like.
Yeah.
Have you seen the videos of like military influencers?
Yeah.
That's just I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's weird.
Yeah. It is interesting the way the military needs to kind of like catch up to be like quote unquote culturally relevant with the next generation and like what works recruiting them versus doesn't. And like I do think like there was that chick Luhan whatever, and she was a part of the Army PsyOps department, and she ran a TikTok account, an Instagram account of just her using nods and on a tank and stuff. And I do think that probably worked to some degree.
Just a thirst trap to
Yeah,
get
no,
the
it
bros,
she's hot.
enrolled.
Have you
Oh,
ever
yeah.
seen this?
I mean, maybe scrolling. I don't know.
She's like
I don't know her.
she's
swear to God, I
she's
don't know.
attractive. She's attractive, but like it's like she's attractive and doing all this military stuff that looks like it's reserved for special forces, or you know, special units. And
It's the DEI I kind of like, brother.
but like that's the stuff that like, you know, I think
holy shit.
snags like a lot of young dudes who are just like,
Like a
she's in there. Yeah,
like
yeah.
e-girl.
Yeah, she's an e-girl, bro.
Yeah. But she has a M4 and sits on a tank.
I think she's out now. I don't know if she's still in the military or not.
Yeah, I don't even know if she's ever even.
But like bona
She
fide,
wasn't. She wasn't.
Yeah.
like bona fide psyop though.
Yeah,
Nice.
for sure.
Hell yeah.
We all sniffed her out.
Yep.
It was
Can you
better.
imagine getting in and be like, dude, why'd you sign up? To serve my country.
Yeah.
Why'd you sign up? Well, I wanted to get some benefits that would help my family. Why'd you sign up?
Oh, bro, I need Billie Jean
Dude,
to send me this. This is a good thing to end the podcast on, actually. So, Billie Jean is a part of this
PsyOp.
like dog Facebook group.
Oh, yeah.
Not a psyop. But so there's this dog that got posted, and it's half border collie, half like English bulldog. And it's kind of a weird looking dog. Like it's got a short coat but border collie colors, and it's got like more of that like sheepdog body with like a weirdish bulldog terrier face. And she's like, you got to see this. She shows it to me. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like a bulldog got real lucky finding like a like female border collie. And she's like, no, opposite. I'm like, what? She shows me this picture of this beautiful, just handsome as hell border collie. Like just the most like picturesque. Oh, that's like, that is what a border collie should be.
Yeah.
Like that's your sheepdog that you want. And then this ugly, wrinkled, like saggy eyed, like saggy dog nipples bulldog, just there's like faces all, and like I'm just like, oh man, did that border collie not have some post nut clarity of like, what have I done? Like, what have I done? And like I was like, that's the best example of like why you need to really think with your head, like because I
It's
like,
got the dog in him, brother.
yeah, well, I told her about that. I'm like, there's so many guys who just get in trouble because they think with their wiener for a moment, and then right immediately afterwards they're like, what did I do? And I think that's like how probably a good amount of guys feel in the military, because they like see one hot chick in the military and then they're like, oh, okay, all right, I'll sign up and sign my life away. And then they're like, what did I just do with my life? So anyways, it's a powerful thing, but use your brain and your head.
Do you think we could see, like drones that would have like like pinup girls, but it's like e-girls on the sides?
Oh yeah, dude.
With like the cat ear.
Have you seen
headphones?
Darwin's War on YouTube?
No.
It's like my go-to drone video that I reference. It's this dude with like crucifix earrings. Gosh, I can't say the word. Earrings.
Are you smelling toast right now?
Yeah.
Stick
Smell
out
like
your
burnt
tongue.
rubber. But he's got like these, crazy piercings, and his hair is kind of like it's crew cut, but it's also kind of
It's
like
like
out
a
of
crew cut mohawk mullet.
Yeah.
You're kind of just like,
it's like cyberpunk punk rock, like is his whole vibe. And he just sits in this like van reclined chair down in some underground dugout hole in Ukraine and throws on his goggles while his buddy's also piloting the other drone to tell him where to pilot like the strike drones. And it looks like the most like, I don't know. It's so surreal because it looks like it's just straight
ripping
up.
His vape. Yeah.
Yeah. He's ripping his vape and just blowing homies up.
He got an award for like 240 something kills.
Holy smokes.
Confirmed kills.
That's unreal. And like, I see that and I'm like, I know for a fact that like they have to be detailing their drones out with like, you know, Sika Bliat or like cat ears on them. And like, there's no way they're not like tricking out their drones out of boredom. Because once you do it a dozen times, and you're building your 13th drone, you're like, yeah, but what if I like draw a like, oh my gosh face on it? And like, you know what I mean? And like,
and you're just some poor dude climbing a cell tower trying to change a light bulb or whatever. Have you seen that video?
No.
There was, I can't remember if it was, you know, Russians climbing a Russian cell tower or radio tower or whatever, or if it was, you know, the Ukrainians. But anyways, it was a video of a drone that just attacked these two poor bastards that were just trying to change a light bulb or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like they just came in. I mean, they hovered around them, you know, and they're trying to climb down the ladder as fast as they can.
It's some nightmare, bro.
Just cat and mouse in them on the. Then there's two choices: sit here and take it, or
what are you going to take? Jump
header? Take the peaceful header.
Yeah, probably. That's probably what I do in that scenario. I mean, people survive falling out of airplanes. You can survive a fall off the tower.
No, dude, I point my head on purpose. I'm going for like take my last bit of agency control.
Have you seen the
crazy drone that like got you midair? That'd be.
Have you seen the one, Ty, where it's the two Korean guys in Ukraine, the two North Korean guys?
Are they fapping in a ditch?
No, dude, it was these two North Korean guys like huffing it through snow, and this drone like identifies them and starts coming down, and they are trying to get their rifles up to aim at it.
Oh, and he shoots the other one? Yeah.
Yeah, and it goes between them, and the guy shoots his buddy, and then it circles around that dude, and then flies in and detonates on him. I'm like, play with your food much. Damn, bro. That was
that
insane.
One was bad. Yeah. I saw that. Did you see the knife fight one?
Yeah. That was the most unreal footage I've ever seen.
With a drone?
No. This is just like a chest-mounted GoPro of a Ukrainian soldier. Yeah.
It wasn't in the trench. It was like one dude left of his team in Ukraine. Or he was either the last one left or one of two. Have you not watched it, Pat? Oh my gosh. It's like the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I kid you not, there's no other war footage I've ever seen that has made me feel so visceral. It's like, you know,
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, it's the Saving Private Ryan scene of like fighting over the knife, but just like in real life.
Oh my God.
He's fighting this Russian dude, and they're like taking shots at each other, and then he pulls a grenade and throws it through the window of this shed. It goes off, and then he goes around the corner, and the Russian dude's coming out like covered in blood, and they've already clearly shot each other like once or twice, but then they start grappling because neither of them have a sidearm, and both of their primaries are like hanging by their sides, and so they're grappling, and they each are like pulling for their knives and trying to stick each other, and it goes to the ground game, and the Ukrainians on his back and the Russians on top of him, and they're fighting over it seems like just the one knife, and there's points in time where the Ukrainian's hand comes into camera. And the Russian, he's a Russian from like he's a Mongol, like he's Asian, you know, and he's biting this dude's hand, like, and there's blood coming off of it, and he's biting it to try to get him to drop the knife. And people have translated the video, and it ends with the Ukrainian like, you've cut me open everywhere. You're the best fighter I've ever fought. Like, just leave me in peace to bleed out. And the Russian stands up and he's like, goodbye, brother. And they say goodbye to each other, and the Russian walks off, and as he's walking off, he pulls a grenade, and the Ukrainian's last was like, no, just leave me. And of course he like, you can't leave someone behind you like that. He could pick up his rifle or whatever. And so he tosses a grenade and blows him up.
Jeez.
And it's like, it was unreal. Like, and the fact that it's captured on video out there now is, it's one of the most surreal things I've ever seen. And like, a lot of people are like, this is crazy because it just shows you like what fighting was the majority of human history.
Yeah.
Just hand to hand, tooth and nail with a pointy thing.
One thing that just blew me away was just like two dudes speaking the same language, probably from, I mean, maybe from different geographical areas. But like, I don't know, man, that part was crazy.
Yep. And that's where I think the military conversation we had about recruitment, and then also like, where how drones have like been incapacitating like aircraft, things like that, where no matter how far along we come technologically, and we'll keep advancing and keep being able to do crazy different attacks through just shutting down a grid or flying a drone wherever you want, but war will always be two young guys fighting like that. Like that's like that is like, no matter how far along we come, that's what that thing is.
It's always what it boils down to in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, on that note, thanks for joining us, kid. Ty, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed, man.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Welcome back whenever, really. We're open door policy to our guests. So, but yeah, we appreciate you all listening. Appreciate all of our new listeners. Please like and review, leave a comment, subscribe, all that stuff, whatever you're listening to, whether it's Spotify, Apple, iTunes, YouTube. Do whatever you can to kind of stoke that algorithm for us, because of course we talk about things on here that YouTube's not a big fan of, and it's hard to promote the show and advertise it. But we want to keep it the same show that you enjoy, so any support you can give us is greatly appreciated. Check out our links. We got Primary Arms. We got Attorneys for Freedom Law Firm for not insurance, but for retained attorneys for any kind of self-defense scenario. We got, of course, like our own store page with all of our links to Amazon products we use. So hope you enjoy the episode. Hope you're reading a good book. And who knows? I think I know what our first brews and reviews of the year should be, Pat.
All right.
Nosferatu. I hear a lot of good things about it.
I'm going to watch it.
All right. You sure you're going to watch it?
I promise.
You're so scaredy, though.
I promise I'm going to watch it.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, thanks for joining us, Ken. Pat, any sign-offs?
Till next time. Thanks for tuning in. If you love this episode, drop us a review. If you have qualms or comments, leave us a voicemail on our website. While you're there, check out our latest news, merch, and deals from our sponsors. Till next time, Ken.